Hey cubies, in this video I'm going to be telling all of you guys how the experts, as I call them, solve their cubes. So basically for like a 2x2, I'm going to be telling you the steps that they go through. So let's get started. Okay, so the first step is to make a face of some sort. So for example, yellow here, and then you do one algorithm to solve the entire thing from there. Now that sounds really hard, and it is. You do have to learn 128 algorithms, but that's what they do to solve it. For pyraminx, they make this thing called a V. So you can kind of see here, you make the shape of a V, have these side colors match as well, and from there, they solve the last four edges, also known as L4E. And there you go. Okay, I don't know how many cases there are for L4E. I don't know, I'll have it somewhere here, like that. Okay, for Scube, they actually make a layer this time compared to 2x2's face. And then they do an algorithm to solve all of this. So for example, let's see, you can do that, and it's done. Now, one trick to why they can do all that is if you have a layer, then there's only three possible ways the corners can be. Either they're all oriented correctly, two of them are misoriented, or they're all misoriented. And from there, it's just the centers. I believe there's 180 cases somewhere around there. But yeah, that's what they do. And also, I thought the name of that method was kind of weird. It's called the Sarah's method, which is it's kind of weird name. Okay, for 3x3, there's two main popular methods. I'm just going to be going over the one that's more popular here. Okay, so step one is to make a cross where all of these corners are kind of in a plus shape with all of these edges matching the centers here. And then they pair up corner edge pairs here and insert them into their appropriate slots. And then they do that 4 times. Okay, so now that this is all done, we can move on to the last layer. Okay, so for last layer, what they first do is they make a top face. And then all of these side colors here, they pair that up with a step called PLL. So OLL is orient the last layer, and PLL is permute the last layer. So for example, here, they do that to solve the whole cube. For 5x5 and up, what they do is they solve 2 opposite centers and then the 4 around it. And then they pair up all of these edges here when they're done. And once all of the edges are paired up, then they just solve it like a 3x3 from there. So for example, this is the cross, and so on from there. The way they solve clock is actually just the same as the beginner's method. They make a cross. Let's make that cross face noon. And the main difference is that when they flip over, they don't do this, they do this because it's faster. So they kind of solve this cross upside down, like this. Then the corners. So yeah, it's basically the same as the beginner's version. Okay, moving on to 4x4 next. You first start off with the 2 opposite centers, just like in 5x5 and up. However, what you do after that is you solve 3 of these cross edges here, and then you solve the centers from there. Okay, so once you're done with the centers, then you would finish the cross here. Let's see, there we go. And from here, you would just do edge pairing as usual, and then solve it like a 3x3. Except for parity, but we're not going to get into that today. But yeah, it's pretty similar, but it's just a little bit different how people solve a 4x4 compared to 5x5 and up. Okay, the last one I'm going to talk about today is the Mega Minx. So you start by making a sort of star here and doing F2L pairs just like you would on a 3x3, except you do it 5 times instead of 4, so I'll just skip through that. So once you're done with F2L, then you move on to a thing called S2L, where you make a cross for a different layer and do F2L how you would for this. So you would do these 3 F2L slots. So once you're done with that F2L, then you would move on to another side that's adjacent to your original one, and then you would just keep on going from there. So let's see, you can finish the cross there, do these F2L pairs. Okay, now that purple is done, we can just do the green cross and just do that. Okay, and now that's green's done, we're on to the last 2, and this one's a bit different. So we first make a little V here. So these 2 edges in this corner, we solve those. So once you're done making the V, then you just insert that F2L pair and then insert this F2L pair. Okay, I'm almost done here. Okay, there we go. And now it's on to last layer. Now there are actually 2 main ways the top people do it, with the first way being they do 2-look OLL, where they make a star here, and then they do all of the corners like that, and from there they permute the edges. So let's see. Okay, that didn't work. So, hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, and now that the edges are all done, then they would just do the corners and have the whole thing be solved. And that's how they do it. However, the second way they do it is they do 3-look last layer, where they do 2-look OLL, and then they do one of 150 algorithms to solve all of PLL at once. And there does exist 1-look OLL on this. However, that's 250 algorithms compared to 150 of 1-look PLL. And since there's so much intuitiveness to do, most people don't even learn full PLL. Most people just stick with 4-look last layer. But those are the main methods that they use on all of these cubes here. There's also square 1 and also different versions of like 3x3 and all the blind events. I'll have something here for square 1, but I don't own one currently. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!